From BBC Radio Scotland, this is Sports Sound.
Don't be stupid, boys. Turn off Clyde, support your side.
I would like to leave this city. This old town don't smell too pretty, and I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. And when I leave this island, I book myself into a soul asylum, 'cause I can feel the warning signs running around my mind. So here I go, I'm still scratching around in the same old hole. My body feels young but my mind is very old. So what do you say? You can't give me the dreams that are mine anyway.
Good day, good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are in the world. You're listening to the Half the World Away Celtic podcast from Hail Hail Media. My name's Kevin O'Neill and I'm based in Mandurah in Western Australia. I'm originally from Coatbridge. And as always, joined all the way over on the other side of the country in Melbourne, Victoria. He is my good friend, and he is also and still the housewife's favourite, Mr. Patrick Close, originally from Airdrie. G'day, Pat.
G'day, Kev. And I'm absolutely on time tonight for the first time in ages, eh?
You're a disgrace of a man, sir.
A disgrace.
By my reckoning, that we're 47 minutes after when we said, we agreed, not just said, agreed we would go to air.
Promised.
Promise, yeah. Well, I would rather spend time with my
I don't
family.
think about promises, but I'll just take you at word.
I'd rather spend time with my family than listen to the nonsense that you guys spout. So anyway, that's
your excuse.
My son's basketball team had a big victory tonight, and he scored a really important goal. So we thought we'd go out for dinner as a wee celebration and stuff. So.
Do you score goals in basketball, Pat?
I thought it scored baskets.
No, I think it's a goal. No, it's goals enough. Anyway, I missed it because I was at work. But anyway.
I'll need to get onto my mate LeBron about that one, see if you're right or not.
Is he coming on the show tonight? Is he?
Well, I spoke to him earlier and he said he might dial in, but he's a few hours behind us, so we'll need to see what he's up to.
No bother. Who have you tipped tonight in the football, Kev? So it's Hawthorn versus Richmond tonight.
I must admit, I'm not doing the footy tipping this year. My darling beloved is, but I would have been tipping Hawthorn, but I know they were getting beaten by Richmond.
I was going to say, I think Richmond could beat them tonight.
Of course you do. Yeah. 3 goals up.
What's the latest? What's the
3
score?
goals up at three-quarter time, Kev. So.
I think Hawthorn will come back strong.
Well, the weird thing is, the guy I work with is a Richmond supporter, and he was. I was doing my footy tips just as I was leaving work. One of those last minute of bugger. I haven't done my footy tips, so quickly log on and do them. And I could see through the footy tipping site there were some like $5-6 to beat Hawthorn. I thought I even said to my mate, I was like, I don't think you're that far out of it, So anyway.
No, they're a good team. They are a good team, but I think it's one of. We'll talk about this later. No,
this is not
because we won't talk about it later. But the point I was going to make was, as you guys well know, because you've been over here far longer than me, these teams at the start of the season are already targeting whereabouts in the league they want to finish. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily go for number one. They see how the season's going and they position themselves accordingly. And that's what Hawthorn will be doing tonight, lads. Because they know they can.
So you're trying to say that Hawthorn are going to try and lose so they can finish?
I'm not necessarily saying. Well, they'll have a position in mind now with the fixtures that are left, that they'll be saying this is the position we want to finish in, given the other positions that are in the table right now. Strategic.
Right. Okay.
I've got that from a very good source, somebody that's very high up in the waffle over here. That's what they do. Anyway, anywho, never mind about the Aussie rules. We also have with us, and I'll come to you in a minute, Martin, because you've already had a wee peep in there, but Osaka, Japan, welcome back. Goodbye to the close season. Welcome to the new season. Mr. Liam Carrigan. Good day, Liam.
Hey boys, hail.
How are you?
Aye, pretty good. Really warm here at the minute.
Oh, is it? What's your temperatures?
It was 40 today. I don't know what it is tonight, but it's still pretty warm.
Oh, mate, see, that brings back the memories of the summer. I'll tell you something, because I know how we do like a little, the odd time, we take the weather for granted down here most of the season, but winter's relatively miserable in the WA. Well, especially if you're down this part of the country. If you're up the north, it's not too bad at all. But yeah, I'm missing the warmth. Maybe not the 40 degrees, Liam. I like the kind of low to mid 30s is nice for me, mate. But
the humidity
I'd still rather. You get it bad humidity. See, we never get the humidity in Perth. That's the beauty. When it's those kind of temperatures, it's a nice dry heat, so you can still tolerate it to an extent. But so have you been out with the old shorts on, or you get the old lobster face and all that?
Oh no, I get badly burnt a couple of weeks ago when I went to the Lake Biwa for a wee day out, and oh god, I'm still recovering for that. So keep myself covered up.
Scandalous. But have you had a nice wee break from the football and all the rest of it as well, and you're all fully refreshed for the new season?
Oh, aye, definitely. Yep.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. Okay, and also we do have, of course, also in Melbourne, Victoria, Mr. Martin Kelly. How are you, Martin?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very good, sir. What have you been up to during the close season?
I've actually not been doing that much, to be honest. Yeah, not that much.
No social life whatsoever?
Like, not a lot, to be honest.
Or is that no social skills whatsoever, Martin?
No social life, mate. I've got social but no social life, mate. It's actually saying that we did get Netflix and Suits.
So no social life whatsoever.com.
Newsroom's been watched a bit, and The Fall's been watched a bit, and a few other things. So
that's been your close season.
Just about, aye.
Happy days.
Have you done House of Cards yet, man?
Yes, did, and I went back and actually watched the original British version of it as well. Yeah.
Did you like that? I thought it was rubbish. Anyway.
Oh, look, I thought it was all right, but I think the American version is brilliant. Really, really like that. So what else? Yeah, Suits. I think I'm 3 series into that. What else? Yeah, Newsroom. Loved that, and there's something else as well. But no, love Netflix. Sensational. So that's really
right. Will we start talking about Celtic-related things then?
Aye, all right.
How does that sound?
What do you think of Celtic players watching Netflix? Oh, come on, that wasn't bad.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. Anyway, well, it is good to be back, lads, I must admit, because it's been quite a while since we've done a wee pod ourselves, so it's good to be back. It also probably means there's absolutely nobody listening at all right now, but hopefully a couple of you will download this later on. But before we start off getting into the look ahead to the season, I'm going to pretty much hand over right now to Pat, because Pat and Martin and Jockstein CSC in Melbourne have been working away very hard pretty much the last couple of months, I'd say, Pat, in terms of a fundraiser for a very, very worthy cause for a very well-deserving person or family, I should probably say as well. But Pat, I won't say any more just now. I'd rather hand over to you and do this little segment justice, please.
So Martin can contribute as well. So essentially what this is a lady in our club, or a family you could say, which is Andrina Kenny. She is originally from East Kilbride, and she is very ill. So we basically tried as a supporters club to get sort of around her and help out more or less. So we've basically all sort of got, Martin's obviously one of the guys sort of helping out. So how many would it be, Martin? 5 or 6 of us on a little kind of committee of fundraising, coordinators you could say, and we've got involved with supporters clubs all across Australia to do various sort of fundraising schemes and whatever. So we've it all kind of culminates in a sort of fundraising event, which is tomorrow night, which is Saturday, August 1st. So we'll have that sort of fundraising night, and I don't know how many tickets were sold for that. Probably around 120 or so. That's just for the.
I think there's a few left.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pub's big enough to take more, but I think they were up to about 120 or so. I think it gets a little bit more. We actually get the whole pub to ourselves rather than just a section of it. So if anyone's in the Melbourne area, if you just go to the jocksteincscmelbourne.com website, you'll find details on the event and stuff there through various links. But we've got lots and lots of stuff going on. We've got a raffle going on, a couple of different raffles. There's the Premier raffle, and then there's the Championship raffle. So the Premiership raffle is $20 a ticket it was, and it was the prize, the one and only prize for the big raffle was a return flight from Australia to the UK or Ireland, and that was donated by a company in Melbourne called Emerald Travel. So that was a pretty spectacular prize. And I think from what I gather, there's
absolutely.
only 200 tickets for that, and there's only I think there's only 15 left. I think is what I heard tonight. So I sold another couple at work today, which I was kind of happy about.
It's a really good prize as well, though, and to have you're in with a reasonable chance of winning it when there's limited tickets. But it's
That's right.
a really
That's
nice
right.
donation.
So we've got there's a couple of different ways. I mean, if anyone is listening and wants to sort of contribute, so that's the raffle obviously is mainly for kind of Australian-based folk because it's a return flight from Australia to the UK or Ireland. There's other things going on, but I mean, essentially we've set up every means possible to help us raise this money. Again, I don't want to sort of give away the total, but it is we've raised. We're not quite at our target yet. And we're hopefully going to surpass that at the fundraising event on Saturday night. But so we initially started as our little club, and that's when we thought we'd try and get other people involved. For example, we're doing a sponsored head shave. So if anybody wants to sponsor me, I'm getting my head shaved tomorrow night for this. I was going to say special occasion, not really a special occasion, a fairly shit occasion, but something we're trying our best to help with. Martin was going to be doing it, but through circumstances with his job, he can't quite do that. So if people want to donate to myself and two or three of the other guys in the club, there's talk of another guy who you've met is Mark. So he's he's a scary looking man with a big bushy beard. So he's potentially going to shave his beard off for the first time in a long time. In fact, his wife has never even seen him without this beard. So it's all going to be a bit scary for Mark.
And again,
That's
the reason why Mark's shaving his beard off is because
they're all getting sponsored to raise money for Andrina. So
and he's also a baldy head.
Oh, he's got a bald head. Yeah. Sorry. Yep. Should point that out. You kind of missed that for you. So, anyways, that's what we're doing. So, if anyone would like to donate, I mean, I could send out the link that we've got for we've got a fundraiser. So it's fundrazr.com website. It might be just as easy if anyone's got PayPal that you can make donations to jocksteincsc@gmail.com. That's jocksteincsc@gmail.com. And yeah, just whether it's a couple of quid or whether it's 10 quid, 20 quid, whatever. We've had all sorts of donations from your $5 type donations to your 100, and even one company gave us a $500 donation as well. So it's all kind of coming together, and hopefully we can raise enough money to help this family out because it's a fairly shit circumstance they're in. So if anybody can help, then please get in touch with us. You'll find again stuff on the Jockstein CSC website, but if you can either email us at jocksteincsc@gmail.com as well. And if anyone knows Andrina and her husband Brian, I said originally from East Kilbride, then pass on messages to us and we'll relay them to Brian. But so yeah, she's a wife, mother, she's 45 years old. It's all came at the wrong time of her life, so we are trying our absolute best to help them out, and we can only thank all the other supporters clubs all across Australia. So there's simultaneous head shaves going on in Perth and in Sydney, and Brisbane actually did a similar thing, Brisbane CSC, a few weeks ago. I can't quite remember the exact date of it. I think they raised about $900 for the cause. So so hopefully everyone can kind of muck in and do it. So Sydney's always good for these sort of things. They get big numbers and excellent club. They'll be down at Cheers doing all the normal stuff, and the guys in Perth will be at Rosie O'Grady's doing their normal stuff. So
yeah,
so
I know the guys up in Perth. There's a couple of volunteers at least that are doing their head shaves as well. Pat, we haven't got anybody in Mandurah CSC unfortunately, but I know Ramey and Burnsy, I believe, are doing their head shaves tomorrow.
Yep.
It's before the Flag Day.
Right.
Which is brilliant again. So
it's
great to support that.
We actually took a punt and hoping that the Flag Day was going to be this day. So the actual original date for it was a week or two prior, and then we did a bit of research and we found out the Scottish League games started this weekend, and we thought, look, we'll take a punt on it being on the Saturday, and obviously the fixtures came out and we were kind of holding our breath a little bit to see if it was going to be moved to the Sunday or whatever, but luckily it wasn't. So essentially, our event, if anyone is in the Melbourne area, it's Pint on Punt on Punt Road in Windsor, and that's kind of the home of the Jock Scene CSC. So it's $20 to get in there, and we've got a comedian on who's going to be an MC for the night, a local comedian who's also a Celtic fan, a guy called Danny McGinley. He's going to do that for the night. We've got a singer on as well, so he's going to come on and he does all the normal sort of tunes, whatever. So he'll keep us entertained for a couple of hours. We've got the head shave going on. We've got a signed Celtic shirt with all the players and coaches. That's getting raffled off as well. We've got a Celtic number plate, even a Victorian Celtic number plate being raffled off, auctioned off. I think it's remind me, Martin, is it CE1
I think it's
TIC?
CE1 TIC
CE.
or CELT1C. One of, like, basically it just spells out Celtic. So that's a great thing to get auctioned off. And
Yeah. So yeah, look, there's all these sort of things going on. There's obviously we've got a special. The bars, the Pint on Punt's donated a barrel of beer, so I think it's one of those sort of rounds where you pay as much as you want to. So some people pay $5 for a beer, and some people will pay $10. It's it's up to you. There'll be buckets in that around. You throw your loose change in, and if anyone comes down, you'll see me getting my noggin shaved, and I'm not looking forward to it.
I hope there's pictures, Patrick.
There will be. My wife's coming along. She thinks it's quite hilarious that I'm going to get this done. But anyway, I haven't had a haircut in about, I don't know, 6-8 weeks. And that's the longest my hair's been in a long time. So, yep. So there's myself, Sean Fitzgerald's going to be doing it. Mark Burns, I said, is doing it. I can't remember. That was the last. Martin's obviously piked out because he's a big wuss. And that's it. So, and I can't. Yeah, there's all this other stuff will come into my head, but I'll maybe tweet out. I'll put on the notes for this this podcast the fundraiser link and some stuff from our supporters club. So whenever the podcast's over with, I'll put that in the notes. So if you don't want to make reference to it, I said, if you can donate £1, it's fantastic. If you can donate £100, even better. But it's every dollar counts at the moment for a very, very worthy cause. So please help. I don't know if you've got anything you want to add, Martin, or.
Oh, listen, no, just like the work that's been done by everybody has been great, and it is an absolute wonderful cause. And I think everything around Australia is just sensational. I know Brandon and Gina have been to a lot of the get-together, so I think that has helped because there's, they're obviously known to a lot of people, but it's just been brilliant. It's been absolutely sensational. We're just hoping to help a family out in need, and that's what Celtic's all about, and the Celtic family's all about. So, yeah, the work that's been done, the support from other clubs around the country, and it's been that where we've seen the money come in, and it's been from all over, and Pat's been right, it's been, people $5, $10, but then right up to some big donations, and look, every cent and penny and Deutschmark and Euro all help, and look, it's going to be a good night tomorrow night. So if you're certainly in Melbourne and you want to see us get the flag undone, it's from 6 till basically 9:30, and then we'll watch the game. And it's going to be as good a night as it can be. So yeah. So come along.
Good on you, lads. And again, I've only met Andrina and Brian, obviously over in. I've only met them once, and it was over at the Gold Coast, the Huddle Down Under, last year, around about this time last year actually, not far off it, and just a lovely couple, a lovely Celtic supporting couple. That was evident to see for everybody, and again, I appreciate that. I've not been out here as long as a lot of others, but I know that Andrina has been another present at any of the Celtic functions and gatherings around the country in the past, and it was just really nice to meet them. Just a really nice couple. That's all I can really say on it. But I wish you all the best of luck with your fundraising. And I know that there's a lot going on to help and to donate. And you hit the nail on the head, Martin. It's times like this when the Celtic family do come together and try to unite to help out what's part of that bigger Celtic family. So I wish you all the best for Saturday night, and I hope everything goes well. And I'm looking forward to seeing your baldy napper, Patrick.
Indeed. I should point out as well, it's not just, I'd say almost every supporters club in Australia has been involved in this, and provided some sort of, whether it's a t-shirt or whether it's, a head shave or whatever. Again, anyone in the sort of Melbourne, Victoria area, there's, I guess, Australia's newest, Mandurah's not the newest Celtic supporters club, sorry to say. There's a club in south of, it's a place called Mornington, so south of sort of the Melbourne metro area, you could say. Down the peninsula, yep. So they're called the Social Celts, and they're a very social bunch. I know a couple of guys from down there, and they're, in fact, the last we had the Asterisk skiers in our place, seems like a lifetime ago now, but they came up. I was chatting to one of the guys, and they was like, "Oh, we're going to head off," because the thing finished, and it was obviously, it's a long way down to Mornington, so it'll be from the city, Martin. What do you reckon? An hour's drive, maybe.
Aye, an hour.
Maybe from there, it'd be an hour's drive, I guess. Probably down Beach Road, whatever. The Perth
Highway. Perth to Mandurah. It's nothing.
So anyway,
but...
it was late at night, and they were going down. I said, "Oh, what are you guys? You getting cabs or something like that? Or someone, a bus or whatever?" And they went, "A bus? Nah, we've got a stretch limo outside." So they actually travelled up in a stretch limo. They thought they'd do it in style. Fair play indeed. So yeah, they're a good bunch of guys. So we've also got some guys from Geelong coming up. Again, if anyone knows Melbourne, that's the other side of the bay, about an hour the other side. So you can think of Melbourne at sort of the top end of it's called Port Phillip Bay. So Geelong's down one side of it, Mornington's down the other, and so it's stretching far and wide even just here. But there's also a local soccer club called the St Kilda Celts. They are on board with this as well, so they are contributing. They've sold a stack load of the raffle tickets, and I think I can't remember how many of the actual tickets for the event. I think maybe 40 or 50 tickets for the event they've sold as well, so they are well and truly on board. So everyone's doing their part, and we can only thank each and every one in Australia, if anyone's listening to us. Jim Riley and all the boys up in Sydney, and Davey Barclay and all the guys over in Perth, and can't thank you guys enough. So don't go any longer, so I'm going to start welling up, because these Brian and Gina have been very, very good friends of mine pretty much since I arrived in Australia. Brian and myself are big St Kilda fans as well, so for the past probably 10-15 years we've been going to the AFL matches together, so it's a bit of a shock to us all, but so we're trying to do our best. So
good on you, Pat. And
sorry,
finally, before we move on, just what's the website again, if anybody that does listen back to this maybe wants to have a little look at the website and maybe make a donation as well? What's the website again, Pat?
There's different ways of doing it. So you can do a bank transfer if you're in Australia, I guess, but again, just contact the club. So just send an email to jocksteincsc@gmail.com. If you want to pay through PayPal, it's the same email address, jocksteincsc@gmail.com. There's a fundraiser. It's the website's FUNDRAZR. So fundraiser.com is like a crowdsourcing, a crowdfunding sort of website. So it's easier if you post it, because as it's case sensitive. I could say there's letters and numbers and stuff like that, but it's actually case sensitive, so it's easier just if I post a link. If you're listening to this podcast, just go to Spreaker and I'll put it in the notes from there at the end of it. And yeah, I said every dollar counts, so I can't think of any other. So yeah, PayPal, bank transfer, and the fundraiser. So if you're overseas, fundraiser, you can pay by credit card. It's in your own currency. You don't have to worry about the exchange rates or anything like that. So if you're going through the fundraiser site, you don't need a PayPal account to donate through fundraiser, but you need the actual donations made through PayPal, if you know what I mean. So what it'll do is it'll redirect you to a PayPal site. If you don't have an account, you just basically put your credit card details in, hit submit, and that's it. So I had a few people even at work today doing the same thing. So actually, I haven't checked the fundraiser one for a little while. I'll tell you what it was up to. That's pretty much just one element of the fundraising site. That's up to $1,417. So someone's made a contribution or two of that in the past few hours. So and you'll get a bit more detail on Andrina, and see a picture of her ugly mug and stuff like that. So anyway, that's
good on you. Good on you, Pat and Martin. And as I said, good luck for Saturday night as well. I'm sure it'll be a successful night, and hopefully there'll be a lot more laughs than in tears on Saturday night as well. Fingers
hopefully.
crossed. But I hope you do well.
Yeah, and so that's the whole idea. We want to give people it's a shit way to be there, but we want to give people a good night as well. So
Exactly.
if anyone knows Richie Mackay in the Melbourne area, he's a very, very good entertainer, so he'll be doing his stuff as well. So it'll all be a bit of a laugh. I'm sure there's other stuff I've completely forgotten about, but as Martin said,
I think you've covered most of it, Pat. You know, I think you've done well, mate.
Yep. So I think it's basically 6 o'clock starting in that area. So we've got an MC, we've got all sorts of prizes. We've got door prizes. There's guys from different football clubs, lots of Celtic fans from all over sort of Victoria area. So come and join us if you can. If you can't, then contribute if you've got a few spare dollars.
Great stuff. Okay, well, best of luck for Saturday night, lads, and we'll move on just now, and we'll, as I say, this is our first podcast of the new season. Hopefully, it's a season where we're going on to win 5 in a row. Would be the priority, but hopefully we'll bag another few trophies on the way, and fingers crossed for a good run in Europe as well. Now we had we'll come on to the actual qualifiers in a little minute, but just before that, I'd maybe like to spend a little bit of time just talking about the close season. We're always linked with certain names. We know that there's some players that have moved out. There's a few new signings that we've made, so I'd just like to spend a little bit of time talking about them and what's the highlights or the lowlights for us. So, Liam, I'll come at you first of all. I mean, in terms of bringing bodies in, I suppose the big one for us was the whole idea of our defence could have been potentially decimated. It still could, of course, if Big Virgil decides to go, or we get an offer we can't refuse before the end of the transfer window. But we knew Denier was going away, but we've got this big fella in called Dedrick Boyata, another Man City player. What's your thoughts on him so far, Liam, coming in?
No, I've only seen little bits of highlights here and there. I haven't really watched any of the pre-season games in full, but I have to say, what I've seen, I've been impressed. Mm-hmm. Powerful. Obviously, as we saw yesterday, he can get in amongst the goals as well, And I think we knew we were going to lose Denier. I think we've got someone who is maybe not quite as good, but in a similar level, I would say. I think.
I think if he is of a similar level, then I think we've done well. I must admit, from what I've seen of him so far, I mean, I'll be honest, guys. I thought Denier was an outstanding player, an outstanding defender, and I watched some of the games that were the pre-season games that Man City were playing in Oz, and Denier was featuring in certainly the games I was watching, and the way he looked for us last season in so many games, where he looked so composed and on the ball, very confident on the ball. It was the exact same when he was playing Real Madrid in the final of that pre-season tournament that they had over here. I think they had, what was it, guys? 99,000 at the MCG or something to watch that final, Man City, Real Madrid or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it was 99. I think they did 250,000 in 3 days or in 3 games.
Yeah, it was some turnout for an attractive tournament with big name teams. But yeah, I tuned in, and I'll be honest, I tuned in specifically because I knew Denier was playing. I just wanted to see how he was doing. But yeah, for me, Jason Denier was an outstanding centre half, and Big Dedrick is going to have his work cut out to replace him. But from what I've seen of him so far, the first friendly game that I tuned in to watch, that I saw him in, I wasn't overly impressed with him, I have to say. But I think he started to settle. So you've got to give him that settling period, I suppose. And yeah, I again didn't see much of the game at all, other than the highlights that I've seen on Celtic TV. About 4 minutes worth of highlights from the Qarabag game the other night, and he certainly took his goal well. But I think he's scored a couple of goals already for us this early. So fingers crossed, as you say, Liam, that he's going to be a a similar quality replacement. If he is, then
I hope so.
we should be right, as long as we can hold on to Virgil. If Virgil goes, I'd be slightly panicky for our defence again. Have you seen much?
If Virgil does go, I would say I hope that he goes for an undisclosed fee, because you see it too often in football. We're talking about 10 million for him or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But we might get 10 million, but if we do, then you better believe that the £2 or £3 million player we're looking at suddenly becomes a £5 or £6 million player, and we don't need.
Oh, that's a good call.
I hope the fee is not disclosed if he does go.
That's a good call. Have you seen much of the other pre-season signings, Liam? So we got the boy in from Man United, the kind of right back dude. But again, I haven't seen. Yeah, he hasn't had too much a chance, to be honest. When he's been given a very little chance. I think his fitness is still to get up to scratch. But I think he played a reserve game and he was pretty good. They call him Sadie Yanko. I don't know, is it Saidi or whatever, but they're calling him Sadie, so that'll have to do. But as usual, you go onto YouTube and you see his clips and he looks like a world beater. As usual, but time will tell, I suppose.
The thing to remember with any new signings is it's going. Don't make any judgments until I would say at least about October, because you need a good 6 weeks of playing in the team to get your fitness up, to get to get a balance for where your place is in the team and how you fit into it, and to adapt to Scottish football.
Yeah.
So I would say if we see these players and they don't look that great at first, give them a bit of a chance.
Oh, they definitely need that chance. They definitely need it.
Yeah, I think
it's interesting though.
I think Denayer was actually a bit longer than that when he came in. I wouldn't say I was feeling overly comfortable with him in his position till I don't know, even halfway through the season. He certainly showed. I think so. I think there was glimpses of it, but I think by halfway through the season he was cruising through games. You know what I mean? So I think it took a little bit of time for me anyway for him to find his feet a little bit, get used to the play, a bit faster, a bit more physical. But with Boyata, I think he's come in.
Sorry.
No, I mean he's come in. He's hit the ground running a little bit. I mean he's obviously. You have to remember the guy's not really played many games at all. Never mind, right. In recent times I'm talking. Hasn't played many games full stop. So and that's going to. I mean, Scottish football. It might have its detractors, but it is physical. It is fast, and that's going to take a bit of time of getting used to. So he hasn't really experienced that yet. If you know what I mean. So he's obviously played friendlies. He's played a couple of European games. It's going to be very different in the Scottish League. So it'll be a bit of a steep learning curve to begin with. But I reckon he's certainly shown glimpses that he's got the potential to be that sort of replacement. But I guess a lot of it depends on maybe what Van Dijk does. Obviously, if we're talking about we get to Champions League, the group stages. If Van Dijk may well stay, I don't really think either way he's going to stay personally. But you put the two of them together, it's fantastic. But Van Dijk leaves, and all of a sudden you're having to build another partnership again.
Exactly. So exactly, and I guess that's my biggest fear just now. That I think there's potentially a good partnership there for this season if we can hold it together. If Big Virgil does go, kind of late August or whatever it is, it could really upset things for us. Because again, the closer it is to that transfer window slamming shut, as they always say, it doesn't give us much time to do any business. But I'd love to think Big Virgil would be here for at least another season, but it's hard to see with all the rumour, of course, that goes on just now. But time will tell. Time will tell.
Do you think he's better than because obviously they're touting things like Everton and Southampton.
Yeah.
Is he? You think that's what he wants, or do you think wait a minute, I can hold off and do better? And that because it's a big risk. I know there was stuff about John Collins saying, if he stays, he's put himself in the shop window. But it can go the other way. I mean, he could go in and you have an absolute stinker. Get sent off in a game and concede a couple of goals, and all of a sudden, our £10 million centre half all of a sudden looks a fraction of that. You know what I mean? So it's
I just think there's something about Big Virgil again. I think I've been on here a few times going on about him, and for me he's the best player at Celtic right now. He was very close to, if not my player of the year last season. He's just got something about him, and I've no doubt that he could play at the highest level. I think, no disrespect to your Evertons or Southamptons, but I think he could do a lot better. In a similar way, I think, see, Wanyama, when he went to Southampton, he just slotted right into that team, and he became a really good player for Southampton, and I've no doubts that he'll move on from there onto bigger and better things with another team. I think for whatever reason, they still think that even although you look a classy player in Scotland, you can't do it at that real top level. I'm not so sure that's true. I think if you've got the quality, you can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere. I mean, Henrik proved that when he eventually left us and went straight to Barca, and he was a class act there. You maybe get other examples like Gary Hooper, right enough, who did a great job for us and then maybe struggled a bit with Norwich. But different position, different types of player, different circumstances.
I was going to say, but Kev, is one of the issues with fans that they want to see, if you are what they see as a top club, an Arsenal, a Man U or whatever, they don't want signings for Celtic, they want signings for Barcelona and Real Madrid, that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Martin. I think you're spot on there, yep.
I was also going to talk before about, I think, Pat, I totally agree where you need to give somebody into the season, because I think the absolute opposite was Guidetti last year, where first couple of games we were saying, right, get him signed, break the bank type thing, and realistically he went off the boil very quickly, so it's not a 1 or 2 game you want to see, and I think that's what I actually think is quite good about getting guys on loan, because that week or two even, if they do come on trial, it's not the real thing, and it's not real game stuff, where getting them on loan for a year and having that deal of, right, we can buy at this price sort of thing, gives us the perfect option to go, he fit, and also, what's he like, does he fit into the team? So, yeah.
So, was that a yawn? Was that a big yawn?
It was a yawn, actually.
That's you, and that's while you're talking. That's you boring yourself, Martin.
What are you doing? I'm thinking I've got a blankie over me.
What the hell? Nah, fair play.
Alright. So, anyway. Yeah. Look, I was always going to say, I think the guys we brought in seem, I think it's all good. I think Boyata at the moment is the best purchase that we've had. But I think they're all good. I think trying to get rid of some of the guys or get them out off either even just a wage bill or just get them out from, so that we know who we want to play, has been a winner. And I do think there'll be a couple more coming in.
The keeper we've signed as well seems, again, it's difficult to tell because I've hardly seen him at all, but the game I saw, Bailey Logan, isn't it his name?
Bailey Logan from
Belgian dude.
But was he the one that I've read that he moved for some big money and was a bit of a sort of playboy type thing at one point? So it's one of those. It's quite hard because how many keepers do you have? At what point is it like you are literally coming just to sit? In fact, potentially not even to sit in the bench. If you're third string keeper, you're nothing.
I think. I mean, you do really need to have the 3 keepers just in case, though, don't you?
Oh no, I'm not saying
that's a thing, and I think there's always going to be a pecking order. But he's already saved a penalty for us in a pre-season game, which that was over at the Eibar game. He saved a penalty, so he's time will tell again. But I mean, you're hoping that Craig Gordon has another outstanding season for us as number 1 and steers clear of injury, because there's no doubt he's going to be our number 1 choice. But you want this guy to be a good backup.
I've got to say he's extended to 2018, which I think is brilliant. Is Zaluska, is he still there, or is he?
Oh, he's away. Lucas one of the many that's gone. Yep.
Yeah, I checked this all day. Actually, he still doesn't have a club, according to Wikipedia anyway. So that's. I know it's kind of it's a long time before that door slams, Kev.
Yes.
But you'd have thought, if he's taking a punt of leaving the club, he might have had something kind of planned. But who knows?
Again,
you know what it's like. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in Scotland though, because I think he's been here for so bloody long. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to maybe even another Premiership club in Scotland. You never know. But they'll wait. If he's a free, they'll wait, because why would you want to sign a guy now and have to pay X amount of weeks' wages when you just snap him up right at the end of it and save yourself a good few £100 as it may be, depending who snaps him up.
We can all talk about him going, but it can just purely come down to the deal. Maybe we were offering him, X, and he thinks he can get Y elsewhere. And part of it is also somebody might be offering him less money, but actually you're going to be your starting keeper compared to realistically only playing. I think he only played cup games last year, and then the odd game here or there. But really, he was a cup game cup game.
Okay, was. I mean, he was given a smattering of chances for the. He was at Celtic for a good number of years, and he was given a few chances. But I mean, let's face it, I don't think he was ever going to be our number one. He could be quite shaky, poor Lucas. But there's no doubt he had a fondness for Celtic, that's for sure. But we wish him well. We wish him well.
Number one would be he was playing out of his skin, and then we couldn't. Foster, we couldn't just. He was going to be the guy. It was obviously going to come through and take over, but realistically, that was never going to happen, but never going to happen. But I think he just wasn't the right guy,
Yep.
And again, if somebody else is offering him first team football, or he thinks he can get it somewhere else, probably at his age he has to do it, or is he literally just going to sit on the bench for the rest of his career?
Yep. So Liam, Champions League qualifiers, we got past the first hurdle in Stjarnan, another Icelandic team. So beat them at Celtic Park, went on to beat them again in Iceland after a scare after 5 minutes or something. But in the end, it was fairly comfortable. And then the other night we went on to play Karabag, who I'm sure as many of us would have thought, who the hell's this team? Never heard of them. But then, of course, you do your research, you find out, albeit just because you've never heard of them doesn't mean to say they're a bad team. And they've actually had a few decent results. So a 1-0 victory against them at Celtic Park the other night. Good result or bad result, Liam?
Good result. Good. Mm-hmm. Any win in Europe is a good result.
Yeah.
And if you don't lose a goal at home, that's always good as well. So,
absolutely.
I think, put it this way: if you'd have been told before the game you can get a 1-0 and nobody will get injured, you'd be like, take that.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Did you know much or anything about that team before we drew them, Liam, at all?
I mean, I read about them a wee bit on the internet, and no, I'll be honest with you, I knew very little about them.
Yeah.
But I know they had the cup. I think they've got 1 or 2 Brazilians in their team, so they must have some money somewhere.
Yeah.
I think. So I know very little about them, but they seem to have. There must be something going for them if they can afford Brazilians. So
Yeah. I mean, Martin, I don't know if you saw any of the game at all as well, but as I said, got past Stjarnan comfortably. Again, Karabag the other night. Any thoughts or comments on that result?
I was going to say a couple of thoughts. One is I only saw some highlights. Totally agree with Liam. Not losing a goal and winning and getting nobody injured, you will definitely take that. I think there's also this total, I suppose, hypocrisy of, maybe hypocrisy is not the right word, but this whole never heard of them, so they must be rotten. Really?
Yeah.
And it is that, do you know much about them? No, but they're they're from one of those stand countries. They can't be any good. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, seriously, it's that.
It's ignorance, I think, was the word you were maybe looking for.
Aye, it's total ignorance. But it's it's the ignorance, but it's. I think it almost goes beyond that because well, obviously they're rotten. So it's not, I don't know how to say it. It's thinking you're better. I suppose snobbery would be a better word for, we're obviously going to...
Superiority complex.
Yeah,
sorry, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you call that a superiority complex, I think is what
perfect.
they call it.
And it is not doing the research. Now, I think I'd heard that whoever put us out, they put them out last year. So let's be clear, there weren't a pushover. I think, look, I'll take a 1-0 and go over there with it. And look, if we score over there, then they've got to put 3 past us. So yeah, I'll take it. I think in Europe, look, all we're doing is just try to get through the group stage. Purely just try to survive to then and see what we can do. But and look, this is going to be a brutal trip out there. But look, I would totally agree with Liam. If you'd offered us it before the game, we'd have taken it. And look, I think also the whole Van Dijk thing is he's staying to see whether we make the group stages or not. And I think if we don't, he's gone.
That's a good point as well.
Time will tell. I mean, Pat, do you think that scoreline is sufficient to see us past Qarabağ? I mean, let's not forget, guys, even if we get past Qarabağ, we've got another the qualifier to play after that before we even get near the Champions, or we get to the Champions League group stage proper. It's certainly not going to be easy over there, I would imagine, but the way the results set up just now, how confident are you that we can get through this tie?
Confident, but not. I'm certainly apprehensive because they didn't seem to offer anything in attack for me. They seemed a decent team, sort of in the middle of the park, but there was nothing. Did they even have a shot at goal? I presume most people like us, it was actually a struggle to see any of the games. I think even Celtic TV only had it on delay.
Yeah, I've only seen. I watched the kind of 4 minutes highlights package, but I know you could see the full game on Celtic TV, which I probably won't bother doing now that I've seen the highlights. But from what I'd seen there wasn't much.
I watched most of the second half on the train, so I was sitting on my phone basically watching the second half of it. I knew what the score was. I just wanted to see what the performance was like. So so although I got to say that it actually got up to. So Melbourne's got like an underground loop that goes around the sort of fringes of the city, and sure enough, I would say probably about 2 minutes before the 80th minute or something like that, the train ends up getting in the flipping tunnel.
You lost your reception.
And I lost phone reception. Yep. So I had to wait for a few hours before it popped up somewhere.
A 21st century problem, Pat.
Yes, that's right. But no, look, they were decent in midfield. I've got to say that they were very comfortable on the ball, far more sort of comfortable on the ball than I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be, I thought they'd flatter to deceive once they got to a certain point. Certainly comfortable on it, but just I don't recall seeing. I mean, I didn't see the first half. I listened to the commentary when I was lying in bed, still dozing off. It was like 5:30 in the morning here. Try to listen to the end of the first half. So, but I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have to go back and look at the stats of it. But I don't recall them having any shots at goal.
No, I'm actually looking at the BBC at the moment, Pat. We had 8, they had 4, but on target we had 4 shots on goal and they had none. So aye.
So yeah. So then that's kind of it depends how they play at home. I mean, I think obviously they're playing the standard away European sort of style. You try to get clubs on the break. But what I think might suit us is the fact that we are ahead, this is why I was saying I'm confident, but I'm not. The fact we've got a goal ahead means they have to come out and score.
Correct.
And I don't think we're actually that bad a team on the break as well. We've got some sort of nippy players and players that could sort of hurt them on that sort of rebound and stuff.
And we'd expect there to be more space when we know that they do have to come out and score. If they want to progress at all, they know they need to score.
Yep.
Which is the great situation that we're in just now. It's funny. I think before we came on here, I was just kind of checking out the old Twitter feeds, guys, and there was an interesting one that I'd seen from Opta Celtic, and it was the recent Qarabağ home results in Europe. And out of the last 5 games, and I don't know, is this the most recent order first, but I'll just go through them anyway. Out of the last 5 games, they've only lost 1. But although that sounds a bit daunting, when you look at the score lines, they beat Red Bull Salzburg 2-1, but then they drew 0-0 at home to Twente. They drew 0-0 at home to Saint-Etienne, and they get beat 2-1 at home to Dnipropetrovsk, who I believe are from the Ukraine. But and then they drew 0-0 with Inter at home as well. So they've actually only scored 3 goals out of those 5 games. They drew 3 of those games 0-0. So what you're saying there, Pat, as well about shots at goal and all the rest of it, they're maybe not that potent in attack. Everybody's saying they are a fairly decent, well-organised team, and I've no reason to doubt that. But maybe they're not so prolific. And as long as we can play a similar game or go over there with a similar approach that they came to Celtic Park with, as long as we can defend well and professionally and don't lose the concentration, maybe hit them on the break, play them at their own game. You never know. I think I did see the kind of media conference with Ronny Deila after the game, and as he quite rightly said, 1-0's a far better result in Europe than 2-1. Even though it's that 1-goal advantage, it's a far better result, and you couldn't argue with that at all. If we manage to sneak a goal over there, then it might be hard to see them scoring 3 goals. But time will tell, guys.
In terms of the format, then I guess the big sort of debate was who you'd play up front. I mean, I thought Griffiths would have started in the home game, but is this kind of set up for Chifchi to play?
Chifchi in the second leg.
The fact that he's better at holding the ball up and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's a good point, Pat. I think you're right. I think they might or Ronnie might persevere with Chifchi. I think the guys. I did manage to catch a few of the pre-season games that were live in Celtic TV over here, and I think he's just a bit frustrated and he's trying too hard to score. I did see in that highlights package against the Qarabağ that he did have a bit of a snapshot at goal. It was a fairly decent effort. I thought it was just unlucky. It was straight down the keeper's throat. But I think as long as he doesn't lose his confidence too much, I don't think a goal's too far away from Chifchi, and I think once he gets one, that'll settle him, and we'll see some better things from him. I agree that in terms of as a centre forward, holding the ball up, he's got that physical presence. We know what he's been like when we've played against him in the past. He's given our defence some difficulties, even just last season. So for me, that's the sign of a good player when you actually notice he causes you problems. So I wouldn't be surprised, even though Griffiths is. You can't argue his goal scoring records towards the end of last season, and he's carried it on through the pre-season. I would not be surprised if we go with Chifchi up front in the away leg. I don't know what you think, Liam.
I mean, it really depends how you want to play it, but I think we should go out and attack them. Because the thing is, with this kind of game, 1-0 seems precarious, but we get a goal over there, boom, suddenly they've got to score 3.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
And I only saw about 10 minutes of the game, but I did not see 3 goals in that team.
Mm-hmm.
We get 1 goal over there, we're through. Guaranteed.
Tough talking, Liam. But I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin, what's your view in this second leg? I must admit, I didn't because I knew I wasn't even getting a feed, and it was all audio stuff that I could get. I didn't even bother setting the alarm. I just waited till my own alarm went off, and the first thing I did was check the phone to see the score. And the first thing I saw when I opened up my phone was Boyata running away celebrating the goal. So I knew we'd won at that stage. Then checked it out, 1-0 up, and I must admit, I was quite happy with that we'd kept the clean sheet. We'd got our noses in front. It's going to be tough next week, but in terms of how we line up, as Pat was suggesting as well, is there going to be any changes to the team as to how we line up, and how confident are you of progressing?
Look, I'm as confident as you can be when you're 1-0 up going to a far off distant land when you don't know too much about it. I'd rather be 1-0 up than 2-1 up because of the away goals rule. I think we've got a good shout, but I'm certainly not, putting the champagne on ice or anything. I suppose, yeah, I'm as confident as I can be. I suppose if we can get a goal over there, it's sensational. I would feel you'd want to, because you don't want to just be sitting at nothing each with a couple of minutes to go and they snatch a goal and suddenly you're at penalties or an injury time. So yeah, look, I think we can score over there. We just need to be careful that we don't leave them with too much space. But it's one of those. But if we can get a goal, suddenly they then have to have a red hot crack at it, and we've got a chance of even picking up a second because they need to leave some space to try and target us. So look, I'd like to, as I said, if you'd asked us, and Liam's right, if you'd asked us before the game, we'd have taken it.
Absolutely. No, I don't think we can't argue with that. I think we're in a strong, not the strongest position we could have been in, but we're certainly in a reasonable position getting into this away leg, and it all depends on the players' attitudes next week. And I'm pretty sure that Ronnie will have them fired up. It's certainly night and day difference in terms of the preparation ahead of this season's campaign from last season when Ronnie was just in the door. He said it himself, and you can tell just the way we're playing, the way we're knocking it about, that the players are obviously a lot more settled. Even the new ones coming in, they're moving into a system that's already established. Whereas last season,
I think also
anybody new we were bringing in was it was new players into a brand new system that everybody was trying to get used to, and that's what partly caused some of the early season issues.
I think also last season they weren't Ronnie's players,
That's right.
Where this is he proved himself after a year. These are his players. You're right. You've got a good chunk of the team then playing Ronnie's way, and guys are fitting in rather than everybody having to try and learn Ronnie's way. If you go back under most of the coaches the last couple of years, they've all had a dismal first season because you've came in and tried to do stuff. So, look, I think we've got a good chance. And then also next round, remember we are seeded as champions. So I think we've got a good chance of getting to the group stage. But again, we need to be not cocky about the whole thing.
Absolutely. Well, time will tell. Next week we'll know, guys, what's happening. But anyway, we might as well we'll move on to our little preview of, it's the start of our bread and butter, guys, the Scottish Premier Football Calcio League. Quick look at the Premiership table sees us sitting second top right now, behind Aberdeen, which is not a bad position, ready to pounce on 0 points. Funnily enough, if we look down the other divisions, there's a team called Rangers, they're sitting second bottom of the Championship right now.
Rightfully so.
Which always gives us a laugh. Surely to God, they should be bottom because they're the Rangers. They're not Rangers. And last time I checked, T comes after S for St Mirren in the alphabet.
Good point, mate. Good point.
So really, they should be bottom of the Championship before a ball is kicked, I believe. What they should maybe do is change their name to Aardvark United or something like that, and then at least they can start the season top of their division.
You mean like those companies in the yellow pages that
Triple A,
AAA plumbing, that sort of stuff?
Absolutely, yes. A bit of that, a bit of Aardvark.
AFC Rangers, there you go. AFC Rangers. I'd get to the top with it.
No.
No, not if it's in the Premier League, I suppose. What about Aberdeen?
Aberdeen. So we've got Ross County on Flag Day, boys, at Paradise, and we must admit, from half the world away, guys, we must have seen all these pictures of the way Celtic Park's shaping up for the new season with all these banners that have getting put round the Jock Stein stand and the Lisbon Lions stand. It looks bloody impressive, does it not?
Look, they've done a magic job on that. I was over for the Com Games last year, and even at that, the Celtic way was starting to look good, and they're just doing it more and more. I think it's looking absolutely magnificent. The banners around the thing is, it's just... they're making it that world-class looking stadium, and they're spending money in it. Look, it's quite... You can see times when people are saying, no, we should be spending money on players or whatever rather than, doing up a stadium. But the stadium was just looking absolutely brilliant. And, yeah, I think it's great. I really do. No. I think it's that nod back to great players in that. It's, it's if you know the history, well, let's make sure we talk about the history. Let's make sure we celebrate the history of the club. Let's get younger guys going to their dad. Who's that player? Well, I'll tell you about him, son. He's this, I think it's looking absolutely great. I don't even mind the New Balance, on the seats in the stadium and everything. So yeah, I think it's looking good.
I must admit, I've not really seen that yet because the old Nike swooshes were there, of course, before, but they had to be scrubbed out with green Tipex or whatever they would have used. But and then the New Balance ones painted in. So I've not really seen that side of it, but I must admit I was very impressed when I saw those banners outside the stadium at both ends. And the funny thing as well is it's not just like the official photography that's been taken of them. A lot of my mates that have been there, and I actually saw one of the boys from Melbourne, Big Tim Lynch, that you'd met last time I was over there, Pat, as well, who's back in Scotland just now. Actually, he was at the game the other night, and he'd taken a picture coming out after the game, and even your kind of amateurish pictures at the stadium looks absolutely fantastic in them. It does. It's a stadium to be proud of.
It is, but that's also allowing people with social media to spread the word themselves. Now, when the official one comes out, it's easy, but it's that one from different angles, and then you're now getting guys on the huddle board and stuff, going up, taking pictures at certain times and spreading them, and it's looking absolutely magnificent. It really is, and it's that one of it's from where it was when we used to stand in the jungle. Now I do, and this is off tangent, but I want to ask boys, the idea of the safe standing zone. Certainly, in theory, I think it'd be wonderful, but in practice, I just think I'm a grumpy old man now, and I quite like a nice, comfortable seat and everything.
Oh, well, that's fine, then. You do.
No. That's why I'm asking the question. I think it's a brilliant thing, and certainly if I went over, my kids got to a certain age, I think it'd be brilliant to go into the safe standing zone and be able to do that. But I'm just wondering, what do people think? Do you think it'll be a bit of a fad, or do you think? And I think some guys will do it and absolutely love it. But what do you think? Do you think if you were going every week, you'd want to be in the safe standing zone?
You go first, Liam.
thing is, when I go to football games here, you can sit down, have a pint, watch the game, have something to eat, and it's very spacious and it's all air conditioned and stuff. The safe standing thing, it's good for atmosphere, but I think it's a regression. I'm quite comfy in my seat watching the game now.
Mm-hmm. Fair comment. What about you, Pat?
I don't know. I'm probably the same as you guys. Just used to sitting in my fat arse watching a game of football these days. But no, again, probably the same as you guys. Like we used to go in Jungle almost every game. There's only a handful of games end up not in there from beyond a certain age. So, and it's just one of those things you did. But these days my feet are too sore, and I can't even be arsed standing in train now. It's going to stay that way. I can't be arsed standing in the train. So I get
old age, boys.
I get the train that's not the express because I know I can get a seat in that. It's that's just the way my life is at the moment. So, but no, it's kind of expanding the whole thing for the Green Brigade because it's kind of what they wanted and what they needed really. To have a bit of space and lateral movement and all that sort of pish.
And that's why I think it's important that it gives people a choice.
Exactly.
I agree with everything you guys have said. I love nothing more than going to the games in the Jungle, right up the very back, underneath the gantry. Hurling abuse at poor old Archie McPherson as he was walking out to do his commentary, or Jock Brown, or whoever the unlucky guy would have been. But I mean that kind of standing and that kind of atmosphere, that was the good standing, or the good, you were crammed so tight like sardines. But there was other times as well that you'd have been standing around, whether it was the Jungle. I stood times in the old Celtic end or the old Rangers end as well, that the nearest guy next to you was 20 metres away and you'd be standing freezing your arse off. And it was no fun. I'd usually go to a barrier to have a lean because I just couldn't be, so it was, the reason that you went there was not because I enjoyed standing at those times. It's because it was what was affordable. You couldn't afford to go to the stand and sit in my arse. I remember going to reserve games with my brother and my old man, and you'd go into you'd use your season ticket and you could get into the old stand for nothing then. And that was novelty factor, sitting down to watch the football then in the south stand. And I always remember we always used to go up the very back seats in it, because you just went in. It was a bloody reserve game, so you just went in, showed your ticket, sat wherever you wanted. So we would go right up the very back, and I always remember sitting there and looking out over the old Celtic Park, and you thought, bloody hell, man, look how high up we are here. And that's like the south stand. Fast forward a number of years later, when I sat in the second back row of the north stand upper on the turn to the Lisbon Lions, and I remember going into that game the first time after the Hampden season, and we went in to take our new seats, and bloody hell, I was pretty frightened. Walking up, I was holding on to the bloody railing going up there, just for fear that I might trip and fall, and that was me a goner. But then I remember sitting in those seats and then looking down on the old main stand, and it just shrank into insignificance. But no, I'm just sorry about the reminiscing there, guys. But
I was going to say,
for me, it's sitting down for me as well, definitely. But I'm all for giving people a choice, and I think what they're doing is a great initiative, and I'm sure it will be copied by others in the UK.
Right, but I was going to say, don't you think part of it was you could go with your mates and you could just stand with them, and if there was 5 a year, there was 10 a year. Where I don't know if that's quite going to be the case, because I think you're still sort of almost allocated, I think, a space.
Yeah,
but
that's right. Yeah.
Aye. But I love standing in the Jungle, either under the gantry or certain games down towards the sort of the old Rangers end. But
yeah.
As I said, I think it's a great idea, and I do. I think it's a great idea. I think it's really good that we're bringing it in. I think it's what the Green Brigade is wanted, and that's part of, I think, with the Green Brigade of, okay, you've got what you want now, so let's go for it sort of thing. You know, make sure you're in there. They're making some brilliant noise and everything. But I think it's good. But then, from my point of view, I think I'm just used to sitting now, and I wonder if it's almost that be careful what you wish for. Now, I think the Green Brigade will make the most of it and jump and it'll be brilliant. But I don't know if I'll see it spread into much of the rest of the stadium. So yeah, I think.
Oh no, I don't think that'll ever.
No,
I'm
just
I think
saying,
it'll always be that section. Yeah,
there's a certain section that will want it, and it's brilliant. And I think the rest of it will be. Do you know what? We all like sitting now, you know. And I wonder if there's also that little bit of it was brilliant to stand where I think you're right, Kev. There was times when it wasn't, you know, you had that really steaming guy that kept bumping into you, or it was just rotten at times. That's the best time it was if the weather was bad, everybody huddling together so you weren't getting that wet, where if you're just sitting and it's pissing down with rain, you're just getting soaked.
I do. I remember games when I'd moved around. I'd get a bit older from the bouncing around the jungle and moved around to the Rangers end sort of thing. And sometimes as well it was a game that you just thought, oh, nah, bugger that, man, I'm just going to get into the Rangers end where I'll get a bit more space. But when you were in that bit more space, I mean, it wasn't fun standing around. You always were guaranteed sometimes a better view if you weren't the tallest or whatever. Whereas when it was jam-packed, everybody always had a big guy came and stand in front of them. It didn't matter what height you were, you'd always had some big bastard would come and stand in front of you just before the kick-off or something. Whereas if you went to the Rangers end, you were pretty much guaranteed plenty of room. Just pick your part of the terrace and you could have a free view of the park. But yeah, it wasn't through those choices. It was a choice, of course, but it was more through economics rather than, oh yeah, beauty, I can't wait to stand for 90 minutes. It's funny how it's developed, but I'm definitely all for giving people a choice. And let's not forget, it's not a case that that these kind of areas it's just permanent standing. The things, as I've seen them, they fold down and they become seated anyway when and if they need it to be, or if you make that choice that you can lock them down or whatever. So they still do turn into seats, these spaces, as you said, Martin. It is an allocated space. It's not like 10 of you can all huddle round in a little circle or whatever. You're still in a line or whatever on the terrace, but it'll add to the atmosphere, I think, and it'll be interesting. I was going to ask,
in European games, does it have to be all seating so you can't have a safe standing zone? Is that that's what I think, but I'm not sure about that. Does anybody know?
It rings a bell with me.
That is the rules. Champions League must be all seater.
Right. Aye.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's the atmosphere is the biggest change. That's obviously you're not having just the Green Brigade section. You're kind of expanding on that now. You're going to have more of them. So, but the other side of it, you just hope that people basically behave correctly, if you know what I mean. So, because they've obviously had, we had a relatively stable year with all sort of Green Brigade areas and all that sort of stuff. That all kind of settled down last year. You kind of want that to continue, but you just hope that people don't go overboard with
not too much lateral movement, Patrick. Is that what you're saying with your mouth?
No, I'm just saying that the Green Brigade obviously have got their act together and they're doing the things the right way. It's more a case of the people. I guess people tag it as the hangers on, and you just going to hope they don't spoil it for everyone else. But now, correct me if I'm wrong though, but I think the safe standings for next season. It's not this season.
Oh, is it? Aye.
I'm honestly not sure. I remember just seeing a feature on it and good old Celtic TV and stuff like that again. So I can't really remember, but
yeah, I think it's next season. But I can try and check while we're chatting now. I'm fairly certain it was next season. So anyway, Stretch Radio UK have just posted in the chat room, Kev. Hey, really good show, guys. If you want to listen to the biggest 45 Ibiza mix of the year, come check us out.
What are we doing? What are we doing on here then when we can go on to Stretch Radio?
Stretch Radio UK. Yeah. Hello to Connor and Alistair Jack, who are also posting in the chat room. So, but apart from that, nobody's listening.
Oh, speaking of which... Oh,
speaking
no,
of
on
which,
you go.
No, I've got one as well. I've mentioned this fella before on this podcast, but my Uncle Thomas, who is the guy who got me into Celtic and took me to all the games and up to Aberdeen. And
Thomas Riley?
Thomas Riley, yep. Uncle Thomas from Plains near Airdrie, a little village outside Airdrie called Plains.
Remember, we're possibly related, Pat, remember?
I know, exactly. Tommy Riley.
I don't know for sure, but it could be.
As Kev knows, and we found this out too late, but I didn't know this until it's too late, but my Uncle Thomas was on holiday in Australia. Now he's about 4,000 years old, and he came all the way out to Australia to Mandurah.
If you please.
If you please. And I found out about 2 days before he was going back. And I couldn't even get a Mandurah CSC t-shirt to him. So
but it can happen. It can
his
happen.
grandson, Chris Wright, he's messaged me on Facebook, and he wants me to send him a link so he can listen to his wee nephew all the way on the other side of the world, listen to it. So eventually, hopefully, he's actually listening at some stage. But if he's got this far in the podcast, an hour and 20 minutes in, he's doing well. So hello to my Uncle Thomas. I love the guy. Yeah, can't speak any more highly of him. So I hope you're well, big fella.
Well, he got you into the hoops, Patrick. So
he did. I was an Airdrie fan before that, Kev.
Fair play.
I was an Airdrie supporter, so my brother used to play for Airdrie, so I used to go to Airdrie games. So I'll share that story with you one day about how I became a Celtic fan. But too long for this podcast, I reckon. But
like, you know,
it was.
Now oh no, on you go.
No, I was just saying it was almost an overnight transition from Airdrie fan to Celtic fan. I'll tell you.
You had an epiphany.
It almost was. I'll share it with you one day, but maybe next podcast.
A Fenian epiphany.
Oh, maybe do I just do it now? I'll just do it now. It's like a 30-second thing. I was at an Airdrie. They were in the first division, I think, at the time, and Hibs had been relegated, and Hibs were playing Airdrie. Now I don't know. I'd have been 10 years old. Yeah, probably about 10 years old, and so my brother played. He played for the Airdrie. And Broomfield was only not even a 5-minute walk from my house. So I used to go and watch my brother play in the reserves, and he'd get me tickets for the big games. And then when they got in the Premier League,
Don't have to support them, Pat.
Sorry,
did I say that out loud?
I've learned from my horrible ways of my past. So anyway, I was at Airdrie and Hibs game at Broomfield, and the Airdrie fans are singing "No Pope of Rome."
Oh,
and I got
one
to that
of
point,
my favourites.
It got to that point where when your brain just sort of wires together and it goes, wait a minute, wait a minute, what are they singing? And it was and I don't know this 100%. Now I used to go to school called St Edwards, and there was a lot of Airdrie fans there, and I am utterly convinced to this day I can remember seeing some guys I went to school with singing "No Pope of Rome." Okay. So anyway, at that moment, the brain sort of everything wires together, and you go, wait a minute, no Pope. Wait a minute, I'm going to mass tonight, and they're singing "No Pope of Rome." So anyway, I went and stood behind the goals at Broomfield. I was in the sort of under the old terrace, and you probably remember the old terrace in the Broomfield. And I thought, nah, that's it. And I went home and I had a whinge to my mother, and
And you started singing Michael Fagan, "Shag Your Queen."
I went home and I had a little chat with my mother. I can vaguely remember this conversation of, well, do you want me to ask my Uncle Thomas, your Uncle Thomas, to take you to a Celtic game? And I was like, yeah, why not? I'll give it a try. And then about 2 weeks later, Celtic were playing Partick Thistle at Firhill, and he took me to my first Celtic game as a Celtic fan. I'd been to see Airdrie and Celtic games, but so there you go. That was my little story. My Uncle Thomas took me for years. We used to drive up to Aberdeen. We go to Paisley. We go to Greenock. We go to Kilmarnock. We'd be all over the place. It was brilliant. Happy days. So.
And you found out that they were known as the Pope's 11, and that made you happy.
I think
the rest, as they say, is history.
I think my cousin Brendan, so it was my Uncle Thomas's son. I think he actually had Pope's 11. So they used to get patches for your scarves. Do you still get them these days?
You
used to get like a patch thing for your scarves. You used to sew on your scarf.
Absolutely, you can.
You can, Jesus, yeah.
You get scarves that have got more patch than scarf on them.
Yeah,
they've got mega patches.
I Yeah, I think we had one or two of those, but yeah. Anyway, that's lots of fond memories. But anyway, if he's listening, thank you again, big fella. Much appreciated. And now I'm here on the other side of the world talking about Celtic with some guys from all over the world, so it's good.
And I'll tell you something, if you hadn't jumped from the EIO, Airdrie to Celtic, this podcast might not have existed, mate.
That's true.
It's all your fault.
Well, yep, it's, yeah. Anyway, it's all his fault. It's all my mother's fault. It's all for those the Section B singing No Pope of Rome.
That's right, you could have still been a Section B, man.
Yep.
If they hadn't have sung that song.
I wonder if is it still like, I wonder if anyone can actually message me, is it still like that back in Scotland? Do you still get,
Sure it is, man, I'm sure it is, especially with Airdrie, especially. Without a shadow of a doubt, man. Dirty Scheissenhausens that they are.
Yep.
Anyway.
I'm saying no.
But no, it's great to have you in the world of Celtic, Patrick. When are you going to tell us about your fondness for Dundee United another time as well?
I don't have any more. We still are good players. I just like the way they play, but I've got to say that I didn't mind them, but Jackie McNamara just annoying me at the moment.
Oh, how can young Jackie annoy you?
He just is. He's annoying me at the moment. It's like, just shut up.
Is it cause we've taken Mr. Armstrong, Mr. Mackay-Stevens and Mr. Chifchi and he's in the huff?
I think probably a bit of that. So anyway, I'm in the huff with them because he's in the huff with us, so... If he doesn't say good things about us soon, although, but anyway, that's all good.
Before I forget, and the reason that I'm saying, because you reminded me, because you said a tweet, we got a tweet, or we got an email actually. This shows you how often we check the bloody emails. It was last season, and a chap called Charles Lamont had got in touch to say, guys, it would be a good idea if the four of us did a wee bit about what made us all emigrate to wherever we are in the world, half the world away, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, that's quite good. We could certainly do that, but it'd need to be a little special niche part. Because Charles reckons there's maybe people that listen to this show, all three of them or whatever, that might think, guys, what took you out there in the first place? We've all got our own stories, as I'm sure we have. So we might do it one of these days. As a little special or whatever, we'll see. But he did actually... Yes.
Before we do that one, is it possible that Maryhill Police can listen to this podcast?
Yes, it's possible.
I can't take part.
Is that why you emigrated?
I can't take part in that one, so can we just hang up now then?
I find that hard to believe. A fine, upstanding gentleman like yourself that yawns when he's talking.
What I can say is, I've never been convicted of a crime. Let's put it out there.
So you are one of these criminals sent to Australia? Is that what you're telling us?
No. I came here.
Never been convicted, right? It was not me.
Convicted.
Right. Okay. I'll find
that.
So
yeah,
that's quite interesting.
Kev, you're talking about the same Charles who tweeted us as well about a week or two ago.
He did. On the 18th of July, he did tweet. And he said, hey guys, not heard you for a while. What about a podcast? How you ended up in Oz? Now, he neglected to say Japan there as well, but we'll let him off with that, Liam, for your behalf. Great shows over the season, Charlie. Oh, see, he calls himself Charlie at the end, but in his name it's Charles. I didn't want to offend him, Charlie, but we can call you Charlie.
He's still got the original sort of egg on his Twitter feed as well, so Charlie, boy, what's going on there?
What's going on, Charlie? But we could maybe do that. If there's an appetite for it, we could do it, because we've all got our own wee stories, and we want to encourage as many hoops as possible to come out and join us in this wonderful land. Or Japan.
Interestingly enough, next week will actually be 10 years to the day since I first visited Japan.
Is that right, mate?
Aye. I moved here a year later, but the first time I came here was for 2 weeks holiday back in 2005.
And you fell in love with it then, mate?
Yep.
You thought, I need to get back out here?
Aye.
No, if anyone's actually interested in doing something like that, then I don't have an issue with it. My story's not that interesting, so it'll take about a whole 30 seconds. Airdrie was pish. Melbourne was better. So there you go. It's pretty much summed up.
So there's your story. So there's part one for you, Charlie. Airdrie was pish. Melbourne was better. Pat's story. You could write a book about that one, Pat.
I think there's a movie. I think George Clooney could do a movie with that sort of story, Pat. That's magnificent.
Well, look, my hair's getting longer at the moment, obviously, I'm getting the head shaved.
I was going to say, we'd be better with Telly Savalas starring as
but the hair's gone a bit grey now, because, going a bit grey. It's very grey.
It's
obviously a bit more obvious.
Salt and pepper, Pat, rather than grey.
Say again, Martin, was that?
Salt and pepper, a bit of black, bit of, a bit of silver. I can see you.
Is that what they call it? Salt and pepper style?
Aye.
I heard that. Full of fish. Anyway, this is an hour and a half, Kev. See for this quick podcast, we're now an hour and a half.
I know. Right, so Ross County, Flag Day at Celtic Park, Paradise tomorrow. The Stadium of the Champions. Now, Martin, you had made a very good point as well, and I think we should acknowledge this, that Mr. John Clark, Lisbon Lion, has been chosen to unveil the flag tomorrow. And I think that is a very nice touch. Martin, you were saying that as well, mate. Do you want to elaborate?
I'm just really, really chuffed with it. Like, it's that thing of he's been there for so long. He's done, so much for the club, and I just think it's that. Again, it's that. I think we've got much, much better over probably over the last 5 to 10 years. I think we used to look in some of our old players, and probably the old board did, is shit, these boys are costing us money. We, having to give them tickets to stuff rather than, we're about our history. We're proud of our history. If you look at, the Walfrid statue and the Jinky statue and the Mr. Steen statue out the front and everything, I think we're recognising the part a lot of people over the time has played and acknowledging it publicly, and I think it's wonderful that we're doing that, and I think it's that. I think it's nice, and it's adding stuff to it. It's adding texture to the history, and it's allowing people, where there'll be kids going, who's that dad? And right, he's a kit man, but guess what? This is what else he did. So I think it's absolutely magnificent. I really do. And look, we've got enough through the history. Like, let's face it, we're going to probably do 20 in a row. So we've got enough, through our history to be acknowledging people like that. And look, I think the whole, the statues out the front, I think we should be adding some more to that. The one to me is Johnny Thompson should be there because he gave the ultimate sacrifice for the Hoops compared to MDL. So I'd like to see one of him out there. And I think I've got no idea how I think this, but I thought there was talk of one of Tommy Burns, and the family weren't that keen, or they were talking about renaming Lennoxtown. I don't know where I know that or where I heard that, and it could have just been on a random website or something. But I like the acknowledgement of history. I like his, making sure that we bring back older players and acknowledge them and nod to their contribution that they've made. So I think John Clark's absolutely perfect for that.
No, I wouldn't disagree at all. Wouldn't disagree. He's been a great servant to the club, not just as a player, but in the background as well. And he goes about his business very quietly and very calmly. And for somebody that's got a European Cup winners medal, he's just such a humble guy.
That's exactly the word, Kev. That's exactly the word that keeps coming in my head. Is humble. He just comes across as such a nice guy. I'm talking as a pleasure of meeting him when Celtic came to Melbourne.
All right.
I met him for all of 1 minute. I had this conversation with him, but even that's a thrill. But as Martin said, for the young kids, if he's standing out there, at least the young kids, they can at least ask the question of who's that man, Dad? Why is he raising the flag and nobody else? And let's face it, we're talking Lisbon Lions here, and they're getting on in age, so you kind of want to try and acknowledge them and I guess promote them and use, not so much use them, that's the wrong term, but just and try and get them the recognition they deserve for what they did.
Absolutely.
For the club.
Absolutely.
And stuff. No, brilliant. It was good.
100%. Funnily enough, Pat, when you're saying that you'd met him, that must have been the tour that everybody in Oz met John Clark, because it was when it must have been 2011 maybe, they were out here on a tour, and I was living up in Geraldton at the time, which was a good 5 or 5 hour drive down to Perth. But they were playing Perth Glory as part of that Australian tour, and we drove down. There was three or four families came down from Geraldton actually for it. We had a little convoy coming down, scarfs out the windies coming down. It was quite a bizarre thing to see. But and we rocked up in Perth on the Friday evening, so the game was on the Saturday, I think. And we'd booked into the digs, and we were going out for a meal, and we walked along. So it was, if anybody knows Perth, it was down East Perth, just along Hay Street. We were in some apartments down there, and there's a lovely little Italian restaurant in that part of Perth that we'd been to before, and that's where we were heading. It was a bring your own, as you boys will know. You can get your bring your own restaurant, bring your own bevy to the restaurants. So we went across to this bottle shop and got, as I do with my classiness, a carton of wine, which was quite nice. Bring it across. But anyway, who's standing at the bus stop? But John Clark and wee baldy physio guy that nobody knows his name. I think he still is a physio. I don't even know. It was Brian. Everybody knew Brian Scott for some reason.
It was Brian Scott,
but nobody knew the guy that took over from Brian Scott other than wee baldy guy. So anyway, he was standing at the bus stop just as we were crossing over to this bottle shop to get our bevy before we went into this Italian restaurant. So he's got the kit, he's got the gear on, the trackies and stuff like that, and it's the free cat bus. So in Perth, you get your free round about the city centre. It's a free bus service you get. So he's standing there. So anyway, we see him, and Mr. Clark, of course we called him. Oh, Mr. Clark, that's lovely. Good luck tomorrow. Blah blah blah. Hope you enjoy Perth. Blah blah blah. And then he's saying, where are you going? Where are you going, boys? He said, we said, we're just going into this little restaurant along here. It's a lovely little Italian restaurant. We've been in it before, lovely place. He said, right, okay, well, enjoy yourselves. And then he said, so where are you off to? I said, we're just going into the city. We're going in for a bite to eat and a wee drink. So just so pleasant. It was like a conversation with Jack or Victor out of bloody still game or something like that. But just such a nice wee guy. So anyway, we went about our business, got our carry out, went into the restaurant. There was quite a few of us in there. We met up with Kev Collins and Damien Haggerty, who had just flown in from Sydney for the game as well. So we had a good laugh. And then about 10 minutes later, who walks in? But Mr. John Clark and wee baldy physio man, because they just thought they couldn't be arsed waiting on the bus and get into the city, and they just thought, we'll just pop in here and get the old off the recommendation that we'd given. It was a nice wee place, and it was brilliant. We get the photos taken, another wee blether with them, left them to their own devices as well, of course. But it was just such a nice experience, and he's just that genuinely nice guy. But when you think about it, he's bloody hell, this guy's won a European Cup. One of an elite band of footballers. He's won a European Cup, this guy, but just the humility of him. It was just lovely.
I was going to say, Kev, do you remember, and I think it's the history video where we'd won the league one night, and a couple of the boys are winding him up that, he won that trophy. And it was a beautiful comeback. He went, I've not won that one. I've won the big one, but I've not won the League Cup, or that Premier League Cup. And that was brilliant. Now, I've actually just checked on Wikipedia where all good information comes from.
Of course.
He's currently employed at Celtic as a kitman, which we know. He's held the position for 2 decades, making him the second longest ever serving Celt after Willie Maley.
There you go.
Do you know what I mean?
There you go.
But, look, I think it's a great idea. I do. And I think I think we should do more of it. So, yeah.
That's all good. Right, boys, we'll we'll try to wind up. We'll do our. It's Ross County that we've got. I was going to try and see players that they've brought in and stuff like that.
Jackson Irvine. Jackson
Irvine. So I mean, we had him on loan, didn't we, to them last season? But he's went to them permanent now.
Yep.
I believe, is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Young Melburnian. So anyway,
that's right. That's right.
Best of luck to him.
Who else have they got? Have they got anybody we should be concerned about?
No, they signed somebody on loan. I can't remember now. They signed, because it was the article I read was about Jackson Irvine, but it was somebody else. I can't remember. They signed somebody on loan from an English team. Some guy that I hadn't heard of.
We didn't have the greatest of records against them.
No, actually they've brought in a few. They've got Ian McShane from Queen of the South, Scott Fox from Thistle, Brian Graham from Dundee United. Shit, they've got about they've got about 10 players they've added in, so they've done all right. They've got the keeper on loan. They've added quite a few to their squad.
So what we can take from that is that they'll be all over the place because they haven't gelled as a team yet.
Hopefully.
And we should hopefully destroy them. Do you know their pre-season results, Martin? Have you got that at your fingertips?
Should do in about 5 seconds, hopefully.
Kev, the Celtic physio is called Tim Williamson.
Tim Williamson. There you go.
Otherwise known as Kev?
The wee baldy guy.
Wee baldy guy. He didn't. Funnily enough, he said absolutely nothing during the whole conversation.
Well, how can you say something? You're standing next to a Lisbon Lion.
But he could have just said, but I'm brilliant at physio, lads.
And we go.
Something like that.
And I don't want to talk to you because I want to talk to John Clark, so shut up.
Nah, poor Tim Williamson. He must be very good at his job, but he obviously goes about his business very quietly.
Oh, Tim Williamson's been a naughty boy.
Oh?
Not as naughty as Brian Scott was. Hence why Brian Scott got a heave-ho.
Do you know why, Kev?
They ended up in court, didn't they, over that?
Do you not know why?
Right, boys. Unless we can find it and say it's from somewhere else.
Just allegedly. Allegedly. Don't worry.
We'll talk offline, Kev.
Celtic
physio has been blasted for missing a court date because of a Champions League. That's the only article I could find on him. Tim Williamson was due at Perth's JP court on Thursday morning to face a 100 miles per hour speeding charge. This is fighting for the cause, but Williamson, who is chief physio at Celtic Park, had not made it back from Turin, where the club faced Juventus on a Wednesday night. Good for him. So he's sacrificed. He could have went to jail for Celtic. So there you go. Good on you, Timmy boy.
Good on you, Tim.
All right.
We should actually start a Tim Williamson awareness campaign because I'm not aware of too many people know who Tim Williamson is.
Let's do it.
I didn't know until I'd always. I mean, you see him all the time. You see him there.
Yep.
But you just don't know him.
Right. Let's put it out there. If anybody knows or has any contact with Tim Williamson, Tim wee baldy guy Williamson from Celtic, get in touch with him and say we want to chat to him.
That's never going to happen.
We'll put Martin on a flight. Tell you, see the flight we were going to raffle off? We'll fix it so that Martin wins the flight and he can go back and interview him.
I was trying to. Did I not tell you this? I was trying to get Hazy, like Jimmy Malk. You know Jimmy Malk, of course, that used to be on, but he's now back in the Scots here.
Is he?
Jimmy Malk is very good friends with Hazy.
Oh, the groundsman guy.
And we were all pretty much ready to try to get it. Remember the time the Commonwealth Games and all that, and the pitch was getting torn to shreds and all the rest of it because of all the stage and stuff that had to go on it. So anyway, we were pretty much going to have a nice exclusive lined up with Hazy to talk about the pitch getting relaid and where the grass came from, and it gave us some great detail in the background. But the thing was, he had to get express permission from Celtic if he was going to come on at all. What questions we would be asking him and all the rest of it. So it never happened because it was just too much hassle for the poor guy. So we never put him through it. But I mean, it very upfront and honest about it as well. So fair play to him. But at the end of the day, we just thought, no. By the time we could sort anything like that out, it wasn't even a story. It was gone. So that would be the exact same for Mr. Williamson. I'm pretty sure, even though he's in the background, they need to watch what their employees are saying and who they're speaking to, in case Martin tries to make a fool out of him or something.
It's a pretty standard clause in most contracts, because I've got a similar thing with my job. It's like, I write blogs now and again.
Yeah.
And I talk about education because I'm an English teacher. But I've got to be really careful. I cannot specifically mention what city I work for, what schools I'm working in. I can't talk about anything specific without like my employer's express permission.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine still to get a similar clause in their contracts.
Yeah.
My work actually has nobody can talk to the press without either the market manager, market director, or CEO signing off on it. That's it. Full stop. Nobody else.
Yep.
We still want to get Eddie Maguire on though, Pat. We need to look into that, mate.
Well, I went out for drinks with our mutual friend Stephen Falenzo Follins.
Oh yes,
from Stirling, who's now back in Scotland, and we went to Duke of Wellington where we met.
Yes.
That time you were over here quite recently, and Eddie Maguire was in the bar.
Oh, did you not go up to him and say, "Come on the podcast, Eddie, son"?
He was actually there with quite a few celebrities. Who's the guy who did the meat adverts? I can't forget the guy's name. Did the remember the kind of the funny meat adverts? The guy who played for North Melbourne, I think.
Oh, Sam Kekovich.
Sam Kekovich was there. The guy that used to do the commentary on ABC, whose face I can see, but I can't think of his name at the moment. I did at that time. I bumped into him going into the toilet. So there was lots of these famous folk on the Duke of Wellington that night having a chat. And
Did you not have a word with Eddie? Did you not say?
I went round and I thought,
Eddie, son.
I felt too embarrassed because it was one of those ones where they're out for a few drinks and stuff, and I didn't even want to just breeze in there, Kevin. And then when the moment came when I plucked up the cards, I thought, "No, I'm going to do it." They were gone. So
you shot yourself.
Well, I was with our friend Falenzo.
Liam, Eddie Maguire. He's never off the telly over here. He's constantly on the telly. He's also the chief exec of Collingwood Football Club, so one of the biggest Aussie rules teams around, sort of thing. Even though they're pish this season, but he's also like he's like the Chris Tarrant or the Terry Wogan of television over here. He's on everything. He's on the Fox Footy stuff. He's on Channel 9. He actually does the bloody Who Wants to Be a Millionaire hot seat thing and all the rest of it. So he's a big Celtic fan as well, because he's. Right. I always get it mixed up. I can't remember. Is it either his mother or his father's from Hamilton?
His dad's from Scotland and his mum's from Ireland.
Right. So his dad then. So his dad's from Hamilton and his mother's Irish. So he's got the whole good Celtic connection thing going on there, but he's a Celtic fan, because again at that when Celtic were over in that 2011 or whenever it was for that tour, was he not the guy that was hosting the dinner and stuff like that for the team guys?
Yeah,
Eddie Maguire was there doing the.
Yeah, he was MC. Yeah, the crowd,
MC. Yeah. That was the acronym I was after.
When we went to the sort of open training session, and he turned up to the open training session as well, because Colin was just their training facility just along the road. So next thing Eddie Maguire walks around, we were getting a picture and that taken with him. So in fact, there's my, have I told you that one, Kev? My 15 minutes of fame, when I was in a whole centre spread of me and a mate Noel in the Daily Record getting autographs from the Celtic players.
What, on that tour thing?
On that tour. So
how did you know you were in the Record? How did you
I didn't even know. I saw the sort of photographers. I didn't even know he was taking pictures of us specifically. But me, one of my sort of friends, he lives just along the road from us, Big Noel. He was he and I getting our autographs. I think it was Ki Sung Young. I think maybe Charlie Mulgrew. I think Samaras was there, and we're in Daily Record. So there you go. Somebody from Scotland sent a copy or two to me, so it's in the house somewhere. There you go. There's my 50 minutes.
On your bedroom wall. Plastered all over it, photocopied 400 times in colour.
Not quite. I actually have no idea.
Wallpaper in the Wayne's room.
They do not cover the whole. Yeah, hold on. It's a wallpaper on my PC and everything. Oh, absolutely. No, I don't know where it is. It's around somewhere. But there's my 50 minutes of fame when they came to Australia. Yeah,
right, so we need to get you working on speak to Eddie Maguire's agent and let's get him on this. Because he did he not say before that it's the type of thing he would be interested in doing?
Yeah, he would. Yeah. Maybe we'll wait till the AFL season's over with. And
nah, bugger that, man. Just pester. Nobody back in Scotland will know who he is anyway, so they'll need to Google him. But it'd be a big scoop for us over here.
Alright, see if you actually listen to him in the morning, he knows where Celtic are in the league, he knows who's scored, especially the big European games. He's always got it on. When we were playing Barcelona, he is one of those, you know, when you're always going, is he really a fan? Knows everything we're doing, everything. He definitely is.
Oh, he does. That's all good. Anyway, right, on to Ross County again. Score predictions, boys. Score predictions. Liam.
3-1.
Give us your preview. Just like that. 3-1. Boom, he's got it. Just like that. Who's the goal scorers?
No, that I'm not so sure about. No, I'm not sure. I have no idea what the team will be. So.
But you're going for a 3-1 victory anyway.
Aye.
Martin, you want to put some more effort into it, more than Liam did there?
I'm going to give you 2 predictions.
Oh, Christ.
Right, and there's a reason for this.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow night at the fundraiser, my mate David Baker's going. And David has long been a jinx because he's never seen Celtic score now. It was during the John Barnes era he was going to go and watch us, and I blame him for Barnes being terrible. Please. Now, he may not stay for the game, so if he doesn't stay, 4-0. If he does stay, 1-0 County.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Right, just don't give him an option then. He's not allowed to stay.
But he's wanting to know, can he break the John Barnes curse and then
just tell him. It's not worth taking a chance. It's Flag Day. We've got John Clark unveiling the flag. We can't have your mate ruining it for every Celtic fan on this planet.
But it's up to himself, you know? It's just, okay. Well,
these things are there to be broken, I suppose.
They are. So
I'm not comfortable.
Okay, well, as I said, if he leaves, 4-0 to us. If he stays, 1-0 to them.
Okie dokie. Have you got scorers for us?
Oh, Lee Griffiths, all 4.
Okay, fair enough.
Including 3 with a head.
Okie dokie.
Interesting.
We'll go with that. Right, Patrick, what's your score prediction and scorers? I was going to say 4-0 too, but I'll have to change it because Martin's annoying. I'm going to say 4-1 consolation goal for Ross County in the last 2 minutes. Big Nadir Chifchikichi.
Oh yes, yep.
Is going to get his first goal. He'll definitely, possibly, maybe stay, maybe not, possibly. Who else? Mackay Stephen will score. Actually, will Chifty score 2? Maybe he'll get 2. Mackay Stephen will score, and one of the defenders. Who am I going to go for? We'll go for Van Dijk this time.
All right, not Big Dedrick again to get another early season goal.
Yep, and somebody will score with an overhead kick.
Big Virgil, I must admit, Big Virgil from those highlights I saw of the Karabag game was unlucky with a couple of chances.
The strike from outside
was a header, and then the strike from outside the box, it went about half a foot over or something.
Yep.
Very unlucky, but yeah, gotta love Big Virgil, man. Gotta love him. So you're going for 4-1 now, Patrick?
4-1.
I'm going to go for 3-0 to the champions. And I'm going to go for 2 goals from Nadir Chifchi. So he'll get his first, that'll settle him, then he'll bang another, and then wee Griffiths will come on as a substitute. I'm saying that Chifchi's going to start. This might be foolish, mind you, it might be the other way around for the league, but anyway. And then wee Griffiths will come on and just score another one, score the winner to make it 3-0, and then that'll be his little, see Ronnie, I still know what I'm doing here, so start me in the next game. 3-0 to the champions, everybody goes home happy, John Clark's unfurled the flag, happy days in paradise tomorrow, boys. And that'll round off the podcast, gentlemen. I still want to just mention, though, before I forget, that, and this is our first opportunity to do so, but it won't be the last opportunity to do so. Good old Perth CSC up the road have stuck their hands up a while back, and they have. There's been a bit of mutterings about another huddle down under. It was such a great success in the Gold Coast last year that it was about time that we were trying to do something again this year. There was a little bit of pressure applied.
Next year, Kev. Next year, sorry, yes, 2016. There was a little bit of pressure applied to good old Chris McMonigal to try and do it again in the Gold Coast, but he wasn't biting. So there was a bit of hemming and hawing, and good old Andy Gordon, Davy Barclay et al. In the Perth CSC have stuck their hands up, and it's pretty much set in stone that it's happening now, and it's the weekend of the 10th of June, is that right, Pat? 10th, 11th and 12th of June? That rings a bell.
I think it is. It's Friday. I'm sure it is. Friday the 10th, Saturday 11th, Sunday 12th, and actually Monday the 13th, which is it's a East Coast of Australia public holiday that weekend. So that's the idea. So if you're in this part of the world, the idea is obviously we hope to get as many people from all the CSCs in Australia and New Zealand over, or Osaka, Japan as well. Liam, it's half the world away, mate, but it's open to absolutely everybody. It'll be a fabulous weekend. Anybody that knows Perth CSC and the way they run anything will be in for a treat. Paul Larkin did a nice little bit of promotion about the event next year as well, which is hopefully going down well. And Paul hit the nail on the head. The guys up in the Perth CSC know how to run a function or an event, or in this term it's going to be a weekend. Mandurah CSC will try to play its small and insignificant part to it in any way, shape or form we can. Potentially a boat cruise or something like that happening as well on one of the weekends. I doubt we'll be able to match the boat cruise that we had in the Gold Coast last year, but we'll do our best. But anyway, I just wanted to put it out there that it's definitely happening. The dates are locked in. Stuff is happening. I wouldn't say too much more about specifics or details yet, because I don't want to steal Perth CSC's thunder. It's still to be formally announced, but I can say that there's some special guests getting teed up and lined up, and they will not disappoint, is all I'll say. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic weekend. So yeah, watch this space, and I'll do all I can on here to help promote that as we get closer. It's just under a year away, so there's plenty of time to be booking your flights. But yeah, I'll do my best on here to promote it any way, shape or form I can for the Perth CSC, and look forward to welcoming as many people as possible to Western Australia in June 2016. And that's probably all I'll say, apart from Friar Tuck's tomorrow night for the game with the Mandurah CSC. Hopefully we get a decent turnout, but I'm not anticipating a huge turnout because people are doing things. But
Kev,
that's all for me.
Can we just do a quick rewind?
Yes.
Let's do match prediction again.
Yes.
Alistair Jacks just pointed out that Chifty's got a 75 game ban, so he has.
Chifty's missing 8 games. I'll go for
6 games, yeah. 2 suspended, isn't it?
I'll go for a Griffiths hat-trick. Still 3-0, Alistair. Still 3-0, mate. Griffiths hat-trick.
Right. Yeah. 2 for Lee Griffiths for me. Gary Mackay-Steven and Virgil van Dijk, somebody's going to score an overhead kick.
Okay, usually Martin comes up with the overhead kick.
Aye.
No,
stuff.
that's mine.
That's
What are you
yours
talking
for
about? I've been
this
doing overhead kick forever.
It's just for this season then.
I've been, well, considering I've
Oh,
been
is
doing
it you?
like-
Oh, I thought it was the Hearts. Yeah, somebody's going to get it. Oh, maybe it could be this week. Start of a new season. Right, okay. Yeah, sorry about that, Alistair. Good pick up, mate. We just threw that out there to test you. Shows you how knowledgeable we are, half the world away, mate. We're just not up to date with stuff, buddy. But stick with us. Right, I've
because the
said
news,
all.
the news hasn't actually reached here yet. That's why we're still waiting for it to come through in the wires.
Ironically, it does. Everything happens here first before you boys wake up back home, but we're a wee bit behind, especially in Western Australia. Right, Martin, have you got anything you want to say, mate, before we wrap this up?
Are we doing our shout outs? Is this shout out time?
If you wish, mate, you can do that if you wish.
Shout out to everybody on the Tony Mowbray bus from the Ram's Head in Maryhill, especially Anthony Gallagher, who went to school with me. Also, all my family and all over Glasgow. And actually, a special shout out to, since we were talking about the guy who took you to first game, a guy called Neil Shearer, a good family friend of mine. Took me to my first game, so I'm certain Neil won't be listening to this podcast, but just in case he is or somebody else is, a big shout out to Neil Shearer for that.
Fair play. It's all good. Liam?
No, nothing really to shout out about the new boys.
Nothing to share with us at all, Liam. How's the Osaka CSC coming along?
I'll leave you with a wee story, something that happened to me yesterday, right?
Good.
I was doing teacher training yesterday. So basically what it is me and a few of my other colleagues who are from foreign countries were doing training for primary school Japanese teachers and how to teach English classes. Because for next year, English classes are going to start for primary school year 3. So we were teaching how to do this class. And I did like a 45-minute demonstration lesson with this Japanese teacher, and it went very well. And at the end of it, they said, give us some comments to go forward with. And I'm quite proud to say I invoked Celtic in my comments.
Oh, nice.
Well done, Liam. Well done. Right, elaborate.
So remember, I've got to use very simple English because most of these people don't really speak English, right? Yeah. So I says, okay, everybody did very well today, very enthusiastic, lots of good teaching ideas.
Yeah.
I says, but you all seem a little bit nervous. And that's okay. It's okay to be nervous. I'll tell you about a time when I was very nervous. I said, when I met my hero. And they said, who's that? I said, Shunsuke Nakamura.
Oh, nice little segue.
I said, I was very nervous too, but he's a very nice guy, even though he doesn't speak English. And I said, yeah, I asked him, how can you score so many goals and be such a great player? And he said, the main thing is I'm never afraid to miss. Every time I get the ball, if I see the goal, I shoot. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't, but I always take the shot if I can. And I said, when you teach your English classes, do the same thing. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try and speak English. Your students will admire you for it, and together you'll all improve.
See, Liam has always got to bring the intelligence and the wisdom level right up. That's just pure philosophy, mate, and outstanding, mate. There's your lesson for the day, everybody. Don't be afraid to balls things up. Give it a go. Courtesy of Liam. Mate, that's outstanding. And I loved how you got your Celtic mention into them as well. I thought when you said you were going to try to keep it very simple, you were going to just say, Celtic good, Huns evil bastards.
Yeah, simple English. There you go, simple English. Ball bags.
Yes.
That's what you're talking. Ball bags.
On that subject, one of my Japanese friends recently added me on Facebook, right? One of the teachers I work with. And she asked me, she says, Liam Sensei, I have a question. I says, what's a Hun?
Oh,
You're always talking about Huns on your Facebook page. What's a Hun?
Did you explain it?
I showed her on. I googled it and I showed her a picture of the big house Hun, and she's like, "Okay, now I know why they're so scary."
Brilliant. No, all joking aside, Liam, that's a nice little story, mate. Nice little story and a nice little lesson for them out there and for all of us. We should never be afraid to try things.
Yeah.
Good on you, buddy. Anything else, Liam, before we hand over to Patrick?
No, I'll leave it at that. That's me.
It's all good, mate. It's good to hear you again at the start of the new season of podcast, buddy.
Yes.
Patrick, over to your good self, mate. Anything else you want to say when we wrap up?
Well, we should give a wee mention that I've had a chance to listen to these yet, but we've got another couple of podcasts on Hail Hail Media. There's Celtic Rock and Roars, so it's a bit of Celtic talk. It's just, I do apologise, I don't know the chap's name, but I listened to some of his stuff today, so I'm not sure what sort of rock he's going to play, but he did do Boys of Summer, Don Henley. That was an old classic from my childhood when I had the Don Henley album on cassette. That's how old it was. So yes, that was pretty good. I was listening to a bit of his stuff today, but then I just got sort of distracted at work, so unfortunately I had to switch off. But welcome aboard. And there's also Belfast Boy. Again, I haven't had a chance to listen to Belfast Boy just yet, and I just noticed that today Homeboys, I wasn't expecting a podcast from them because they normally do Monday nights, and they've got a podcast that was posted I think this morning, which I didn't know about until I fired up Hail Hail Media site to log in and do this show. So there you go.
I must admit, I've been a wee bit neglectful recently because the last job I was doing, I had a wee bit of time. It was the perfect type of job that I could be doing some work but listening to stuff, and that's when I was listening to podcasts galore over here. But this new job I'm in just now, I just do not have the time at all. So I've been totally and utterly neglectful, and that's partly why we haven't done a bloody podcast for such a long time. I've been struggling to get free Fridays and things like that, and when I have been getting home, it's been too late. So, but I'll need to try and catch up at some stage when I get a minute and listen to some of those new podcasts that are out as well, and catch up with the Homeboys, etc.
Look, it's kind of hard. I mean, I've been trying to listen to podcasts for work, some more techie, nerdy type stuff, but try to fit everything in. I mean, it's kind of hard at work trying to, as you said, sort of sit there and concentrate and listen to stuff when you're getting interrupted and questions and meetings and that sort of going on. So, but we should give them a crack. Anyway, big shout out to them. So Belfast Boys done a couple of shows, and what was it? The Celtic Rock and Roars. It says show number 3. I actually think, from what I remember, Celtic Rock and Roars was doing podcasts just independently, and then has come into the Hail Hail Media fold. So
the fraternity.
Give the guys a listen. I listened to the 90 minutes in it because they are one of my favourite ones. So I listen to them all day. They're still pretty funny.
Yeah,
better part than we have. So no shadow of a doubt. We should aspire to be like 90 minutes in it. They talk about football stuff, and they use fancy words and everything. We should aspire.
Liam will be getting a free transfer. He'll be looking for a transfer there. And we can't deny him moving on to bigger and better things.
He is a Virgil van Dijk.
We won't stand in your way, Liam. Sorry for us holding you back, mate.
Yeah.
It's all good, lads. Now listen, that's pretty much 2 hours on the dot, or just over 2 hours actually. I think that's more than enough, ladies.
Yes, it is. So anyway, just finally signing off. Jockstein CSC tomorrow night. Got the game on obviously, but before that we've got a fundraiser. So rewind all the way back to the start if you want to get details on that. So it's fundraiser for a lady here who's in our club who's quite ill. We're being supported by CSCs all over Australia. I think we've got polo shirts from every supporters club apart from
Mandurah CSC.
We'll
need to get one sent over, mate. We'll get one sorted one way or another. Hopefully the fundraising's going on for a while yet.
Yeah. What happened, Kev? What happened?
I'm slack ass, mate. I'm slack ass.
Yeah, slack ass. Disappointed. After I'd sort of pumped you guys up and said, these guys, they'll be right on board.
I know, mate. I did make my donation. I made my donation. And we've got an AGM. I did. I've got AGM coming up. Not tomorrow, but a week tomorrow. Actually, we've got the AGM, so I'll get things sorted for then. I'll get
sack
something
the board.
sorted,
I reckon.
mate.
Sack the board because they just won't send out free polo shirts to people. It's just a disgrace. No happy.
It'll happen, mate. Don't fret.
So anyway, that's actually you're not the only Australian supporters call it didn't send stuff. Our local friends in the number one didn't do anything either. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Okay. So yes, anyone in the neighbourhood, come join us. All for a good cause. If you're not able to make the fundraiser, then the game's on at 9:30 our time. Is that right?
9:45, I think.
9:45.
Yeah.
So
9:45 your time.
Yep, come down, pint and punt, join in, all the festivities, meet some of the boys from all over the place, from Mornington, from Geelong, from everywhere. Actually, Mary Ann's come down from Sydney.
Oh, was she not at the bloody... where is she not? I saw a post from her saying she was on at the MCG or something like that.
Yeah, she must have went to football tonight.
I think she did. She had an Adam Goods stuff on her. But so she must be. That must have been where I take it that's where Richmond and Hawthorn are playing tonight.
They were, yep.
And she had her Adam Goods gear on to support them.
Richmond win, by the way. I did. If you think it's that this podcast, I did kind of predict it there, Kev. They did win.
You did, mate. You did.
Yeah.
No, fair play to them.
$5. I'm telling you, that was. I don't think they're that great a team, but I thought they had the measure of Hawthorn, and I think Anyway, if I wish I'd put my money where my mouth was.
The good old Dockers put them to the sword with the last kick of the ball last week.
Yeah, I tipped Richmond as well, and that was the only game I got wrong for the round. I think. So.
I must admit, even though I love my Dockers, I wasn't very confident that they would get up last week, and it wasn't looking like it for the majority of the game. But I won a nice carton of Heineken, boys.
Yeah, so yep. Well,
right.
I'm quite happy. Martin's team we won't talk about because they are just they're shite really.
Yeah,
but the good news is that Carlton are even shiter.
Drug takers.
Yeah, junkies and junkie Essendon. So. But Carlton are even shiter, so it's good. It's that's what we want to see. We don't like Carlton. That's they are the Rangers of the EFL, so we like to see them down where they deserve to be. So. And anyway, this isn't an EFL podcast. Anyway, yep. Anyone gets in touch, they can jocksteincscmelbourne.com. You'll find us on Twitter somewhere. Facebook, just search for Melbourne Celtic supporters or something like that. I think they put it down as. So you'll find us around the traps. So get in touch if you need to. jocksteincsc@gmail.com as well.
And what we played out with, Pat? Just the usual.
No, you on in there, Kev?
I am actually. I'm shattered, man.
Yeah, it's only 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock over there, is it?
I had 3 hours sleep last night, mate. After going to see Blur, got home late, and then I was up early again this morning. But I woke up early and couldn't get back to sleep because I was thinking too much about stuff. Terrible. So yes, I'm yawning, man. I'm sorry.
Well, there's no other way, Kev. There's no other way. Did you see all the girls and boys?
Oh. It's park life, mate. It's park life. Right, enough is enough.
Anyway, yeah, that's it. Okay, so that was Jimmy Johnson, passing time.
Brilliant.
Just because I like it.
Right.
Anyway.
Hail, lads. Hail.
Hooroo, everyone. See you next time.
Passing time, everyone's passing time, everyone their whole life through, passing time like me and you. Children play their cares away, life is fun, life is gay, building castles out of sand, living in their wonderland. Lovers know time goes by, days are long, minutes fly, fleeting glances mean so much, a lover's sigh, a lover's touch.
time, everyone's passing time, everyone their whole life through, passing time like me and you. Time to laugh, time to cry, time for us to wonder why. Moments precious when they're gone, memories that linger on. Summer sun, winter snow, autumn leaves, spring's aglow, raining changes in the sky, passing time like you and I, passing time, passing time.